Welcome back to Day One Voiceover. My name is Robert Vienna, and this channel is documenting my journey into a new career into the voiceover business from day one. Now, I have a couple of things on my mind for this episode, and it's not going to be a very long one. One of them is, as you saw in the title, is I wasn't ready. I went to that Fan Fest, or the FanExpo. I keep calling it Fan Fest, but it's FanExpo in Denver, and I realized that I was pretty far out of my element in multiple different ways, and I'll go into that in a moment. But the first thing I want to talk about is overall health, which is something you don't necessarily expect to talk about on a channel like this. But something struck me recently, not only COVID, but also what happens to a voice actor when they're sick. See, everyone in my house caught COVID, and it's really unfortunate. It's terrible. From myself to my wife, my mother-in-law, and even my daughter. My dog's the only one that was spared. But it got me thinking about what happens when you're sick like that and you can't use your voice. See, coming from the sales world, especially working from home for quite a few years, you can power through stuff like that. You can still fill out your spreadsheets. You can still take in your purchase orders. You can still submit your orders, send your emails, communicate through Slack and Teams and all of that. But how do you perform when your voice is your primary tool? I don't know. I really don't know. So if you happen to be an established voice actor, hopefully my channel at some point grows to the point where I have genuine voice actors that are watching this that can give me some tips. What do you do? Do you just simply take time off? And because you don't have benefits, right? You don't have PTO and things like that. Time off is income lost. At least that's the way I understand it. So if there's anyone out there that can give some advice on that, I would love to hear it. Because the other thing that struck me is that while my voice was very different, when I wake up in the morning, my voice is what feels like about 2 octaves lower than it normally is. I sound like Barry White on Valium.
I think it's way you get it together. Keep on, whatever.
And I wondered, is that something that can be useful? I mean, if I put that down on tape and someone loves it and they want me to recreate it, I can't keep giving myself COVID so I can recreate it. So those are questions that I have now that I didn't think about coming into this career. In the sales world, in the corporate world, you put in for vacation time, for PTO time, even if you want to do unpaid time because you're out of PTO and vacation days. I really don't know how this works in this business, so I would love some feedback if you have it. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about is my experience at FanExpo. So first and foremost, I was absolutely blown away. I came out of that experience really, really impressed by the size and the scale of it. I saw some cool people there. I saw some famous actors that had grown up loving watching Randy Quaid and Adam Savage and a couple of other people. But what I really came away with was just the sheer level of passion that people have at these events. I'd always seen them from afar. And quite honestly, not having really been involved in that world, I probably teased it. I probably made fun of it, like a lot of people have that don't go there. As I started driving up, you start seeing the people dressed in cosplay, and I chuckled a little bit. And as I started walking through the venue, I chuckled even more. It was just so astonishing to see the level of commitment that these people have to this. But the more I watched them, the more I gained respect for them. More than anything, because I can try and make fun of that all day long. I can try and poke fun at the fact that these people look silly, and it's something that I would probably never do, or at least so I thought. What I did see in their faces was pure joy. It was pure happiness, and it was incredible to see. I had always seen the costumes. You see it on TV, you see it in memes, etc. But I'd never really seen all the happy faces and the people have in person up close, and how they go there without any fear of feeling embarrassed about how they're dressed. And it made me think that it's been a long time since I felt that kind of passion for something. I've been a photographer for a really long time. And after a while, that initial passion starts to become more of a job than anything, right? I've had a passion for getting into this voice acting business. And it's been great, but it's been work. And this job will continue to be work. So I don't know if I can necessarily equate that passion, not quite yet, anyways. Maybe once I start voicing some cool projects, it'll really start to hit me. But it got me thinking that this is something that I really need to dive deeper into. I need to allow myself to get more involved into stuff like this. I don't know if I'll dress up next year, but I'm kind of thinking I want to. The thing is, since I'm so disconnected from that world, I don't know what to dress up as. If anyone has any ideas, any suggestions for what a 5'0" Hispanic guy can dress up as at a FanExpo or a Comicon, let me know. I'd love to hear it. But in addition to that, I was taken back at how unprepared I was for what my intent really was to be there, was to meet voice actors and possibly agents. So I'm currently going through Joe Zija's training, and it's been really great, really, really informative. But wouldn't you know it, the very next day after attending this FanExpo, the next training module that I saw in Joe's program was talking about agents and when you're ready for them. And everything he listed about being ready for them were things I could not check. I don't have a solid portfolio. My demo is self-made, it's not professionally made, which you saw in my prior video. I just simply don't have the resume to approach someone and have them take me seriously. So I ended up not meeting any agents at all at the FanExpo. And that's great, it's probably for the better. But I was shooting my shot, as they say, right? And I was doing what I could. I wore my shirt, I had my logo, I had my QR code on my back, and I did meet some people that are connected to voice actors. But in the end, I just wasn't ready. And I probably would have embarrassed myself pretty bad had I gotten a chance to speak with someone really in depth. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be there and to get an idea of what these places really are and what is involved in them, because it made me realize I have a lot to learn and I have a lot to grow if I want to feel like I'm part of that community. So starts another journey, a side quest, if you will, to start getting myself up to speed into that world of cosplay and animation and video games. It's been a really long time since I've played video games, and that's something that could be fun to get back into. So I'll give that a shot also. So that's all I really wanted to talk about for this episode. As much preparation as I put into being ready for that show, it was a hard lesson because I wasn't ready, not even close. And I probably won't be ready for a long time. But that's okay. That's part of the growth process. If anything, it did kickstart me into getting my website fully completed. So if you go to my website now and you click on the audio samples, you'll at least have my own homemade demos that are on there, which most professionals would probably laugh at, but it's all I have right now. So in the meantime, please like and subscribe if you want to keep tabs on what this journey is going to look like for me, how this is going to grow. I have another avenue that I have to pursue now if I really want to be serious about this voice acting career and do the really fun stuff. But I'll leave you at the very least with some additional footage of FanExpo here in Denver. And maybe next year I'll expand this to show actual images of me dressed up in something ridiculous. Until then, we'll talk soon.